it released on the Oculus store this week, which we didn't really get a hint of. It just kind of just happened. Did they kind of tease that this was going to happen, or did it just kind of happen randomly out the blue?
Dropped.
I think it's random. I really expected them to be working on their other game for Quest for the Oculus platform, but not Boneworks. I really expected Boneworks to be an exclusive to Steam.
Yeah, I kind of got that impression as well. But it did release on the Oculus Store this week, so you can play it on Rift, Rift S, and Quest if you're using a link cable. And to celebrate the release, this is kind of the interesting part of the story, is that on the Oculus platform, because it's on both platforms now, but to celebrate the release on the Oculus platform, Stress Level Zero, the developers, they released a Tuscany-themed sandbox mode. Now, if you're sort of like an OG back in the Oculus DK1 days, you'll be familiar with Tuscany because it was like one of the first demos that you could try with your DK1. And it was one of the first sort of VR environments that you could really explore that was rich in detail and kind of was one of those must-try demos that you showed to all your friends and family to show them what it was like to be in a virtual world for the first time. And I'm sure you can all remember your first time in the Tuscany demo. And for me, it was like that weird sensation of walking up and down the stairs for the first time, where your body is seated, but your mind is like, going up and down these different levels. And it did make me feel really sick, but also kind of blew my mind at the same time.
I am imagining you as Morpheus now, from now until the end of the show, Mike. So
that's great. Yeah. I'll take that. Yeah, for sure. So did you guys remember the Tuscany demo?
Oh yeah, every time I see that coloring, that what do you call it, like burnt
orange?
Yeah, that burnt orange color on the terracotta, I think is the formal term. Yeah. I feel nauseous all over again. Very little actually caused me nausea in the early days, but the Tuscany demo, I've always hated it. I never liked the Tuscany demo. I don't know why. It's just I liked their roller coaster. I liked several other things I did in my first run in VR. I even liked Half-Life, even though that was another stomach jerker. But Tuscany and that horrible patterned floor, that should be burned to the ground, in my opinion.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
What about you, Andreas? Do you have any fond memories of Tuscany?
No, I haven't. I was at DICE at the time, and I think at the DK1, DK2 was probably my first experience of VR, but it wasn't the Tuscany demo, so never played it. I think I like Tuscany better than the Tuscany demo.
Fair enough.
You've been there, yeah. Not been to Tuscany.
I think it's. I really like the fact that the Boneworks team, Stress Level Zero, are in a position where they can do this. Yeah. Like in this in this shape and style. It's not many studios who have released a game like Boneworks in a way they did, with that kind of transparency towards the community and the dedicated YouTube channel showing off the development happening and all that. So it makes perfect sense from that perspective to see them launching this for the grassroots who follow them for a long time now as well. So I enjoy it for a as a product and call it a marketing initiative or whatever. But from that perspective, I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, I think you're right. Building up the hype for your game through these kind of viral videos that they leverage their influence online to sort of get the hype built up, and that was really smart of them. And it reminded me of the hype that was built up for Beat Saber when it first launched. That kind of viral hype, and it worked really well for them. Definitely.
Well,
it shows like.
Go on, Rathy. Go on.
Yeah, it shows like how like there are not that many studios who have social media channels that are that big, of course. But if you have that, it's crazy what you can do with it. It's also Brandon as a personality, as the community is following him. They like what he's doing. So it's not just it's a very dedicated community that is interested in Boneworks. In what he's doing, and in whatever he's doing, if it's VR or not, it's like they have been following him for so long.
Yeah, and regardless of what I thought about like the final product, it's amazing to see like the passion behind the game. It's always great to see that peek behind the curtain, and see what it's like actually them developing the game and putting their heart and soul into it.
And still working on it too. They have been updating it. They have added these checkpoints now, and it's not just they could have just created a checkpoint system where you see a little text in your screen like you have the checkpoint done, but they created like I've never seen an actual checkpoint system in VR before. They're the first ones to make a save system like you had in Alien Isolation, where you turn some things around and then bam, you saved. So it's not just here's a checkpoint, fast. No, it's like they have been working on this for a few weeks to make it look nice and work. And so again, they set like different standards for so many things.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, you can check out the Tuscany experience in the sandbox mode, which you obviously have to unlock through playing the full game. And yeah, now you can check it out on the Oculus Store. It will set you back $29.99 in US dollars, $22.99 in British pounds. And like we touched on, we praised the game for its incredible physics-based interactions and gunplay, but you know, me and Zim in particular found the story a bit lacking, I would say. Is fair to say, right, Zim?
It has like fair wind and negative. It just like blows back and forth between good and bad. So if you're ready for a bit of a janky kind of indie fest with a lot of passion in it, then it's for you. Otherwise, you might get a bit frustrated with it in its pacing and things like that. The one thing I was going to say is I'm really impressed with their ability to pump out quality hype videos for like everything they do. I mean, even this update has a hype video with it, and it's really well produced. And I know that's their strength, and they keep hitting that same chord. But I think it's still a very strong chord for them, and it generates the right kind of attraction. So I'd love to see kind of a Boneworks, like an enhanced version of Boneworks in a year or two, actually come out with some systems that they found didn't work quite well, you know, like almost go back and retune the old dog. But they've already talked about working on another title on the Boneworks engine, essentially. So, and I would totally play the heck out of that. I'd love to see their next passion.
And like I said before, I think opening it up to either mods from the community or licensing that that system that they made, you know, would be a smart move for them potentially moving forward in the future. But maybe that's something we'll see in the future. Who knows? But of course, they're also working, like Nathie touched on a Quest spin-off game, which is going to be a standalone from the main Boneworks story called Project 4. All we know is that it's got announced during OC6 during the keynote, but we don't know any more details than that right now.